Hello, welcome to episode 6 of the July Sci-Fi Solo Big Show. My name is Dave, this is Games Gone South, and I will be continuing the adventures of Vector X in this solo RPG collaboration that was started off by Grey Army Gaming. So when I was looking into systems to build Vector X in, I only really have like a couple of sci-fi options, and none of them really struck me as Vector X material. But there is one game that some friends have been wanting me to run for them for a while now, and it's one that I haven't touched in a long time. And so I thought, what better way to ease back into it than a 15-minute round robin session? And that game is Star Wars from Fantasy Flight Games. Which, well, I guess it's now Edge Studios, but whatever. But trying to look into the character creation, the options in here were still a bit Star Warsy, so I settled a little bit for the uh, core setting, the generic system, Genesis, that is based out of the rule set. So if you're not familiar with this system, it uses special dice that have special symbols. There's green dice, which are your skill dice. Those can be upgraded into efficiency dice. There are also purple difficulty dice that can be upgraded into challenge dice. And there are also the blue and black situational dice that can be added when the need arises. So here's how you build a dice pool. All of your skills have a linked attribute. For example, your perception is linked to your cunning. So the higher number of those two, your characteristic and your rank in the skill, the higher than two numbers determines how many dice total that you will roll, while the lower number determines how many of those are upgraded to yellow dice. So for my stealth, for example, is linked to agility. My agility is a 3. I have 2 ranks in that, so I roll 3 dice, 2 of which will be yellow. Now the difficulty dice, you add those based on the difficulty of the task. They can be anywhere from 0 to 5, 5 challenge dice, or difficulty dice, which can be upgraded to challenge dice when appropriate. And if you happen to be going against the skill, an opposed roll against the skill of another character, for example, if I were doing my stealth against another character's perception, we'll just use mine for example, if I were going up against another character with the same perception, there is a characteristic of 2 and a rank of 2, so 2 dice and both are upgraded, and so you just add in the difficulty dice. And then you would roll everything together. So your options you can get, there are hits and misses. Those cancel each other out. There are also advantage and threat. Those would also cancel each other out. If you have any hits left over, then whatever you're trying to do is a success. If you have any threat or advantage left over, then you get some kind of narrative or mechanical benefit or drawback depending on what you have left. So that's how it works in a nutshell. Please bear in mind, I have not played with this in years, and even then I only did like a handful of games. So I don't remember a lot. I'm going to be pretty loose with the rules. And if I happen to need an oracle, I'm just going to use this No Chaos Fate chart from Mythic over here. Alright, so previously on the adventures of Vector X, Ansel, and JL, they are at an expedition site that is surrounded by a time distortion field. Vector X was wearing some kind of dampening collar or something to kind of, I think the intent was to mitigate some of the effects of that field. Once they were in, they were attacked by some kind of silent lava robot beast monster thing. And then Vector X gets bombarded by visions of the past, perhaps, where he and the professor and maybe some others were trying to activate this site. These are we're led to believe that they're potential memories that Vector X doesn't actually remember. So that's where we are right now. JL is not actually with them at the moment, as he was sent back to the ship to collect the professor's notebook. But we will begin with Ansel and Vector X in the company of this lava creature. All right, here we go. So my first question is, does this creature, does it go after Ansel or does it go after Vector X? 50-50 chance that it goes after Vector X. That's an 84. It goes after Ansel. So she's going to open her mouth to scream, but it's got this silence field, so nothing comes out. So she turns to run. Actually, let's roll some initiative. I guess we're going to do a little combat here. So with initiative, you just roll the skill. I'm going to use vigilance in this case, and the number of hits you get determines the order that you can go in. So I'm going to go and start rolling this. Vector X gets 1 hit to advantage. Advantage is used as a tiebreaker in case somebody gets the same number. Holy cow. 3 and 1. That is a triumph. That counts as a hit. Normally, when you're doing it with a check, you also get some kind of bonus. Actually, I think you do get a bonus when you're rolling for initiative. On an initiative check, perform an immediate free maneuver before the combat begins. So she's going to get to run away. She's going to get a slightly bit away for free. But she only got 1 hit. So I'm going to do it to creature first, and then Vector X, and then Ansel. And technically, you can go and it just assigns slots, like good guy slots and bad guy slots, and you can choose which slot you want to go in, but I'm just going to do them in order to keep it simple. So the creature, Ansel got to run away slightly with that free maneuver. The creature is just going to move up to her, and it's going to try to attack her with its club or spiked tail or whatever kind of thing it had. So it's got a brawl. Why? Oh, I need my challenge dice. Melee is always 2 challenge dice. Oh my goodness. Let's cancel. I got 2 hits and 1 advantage. So the 2 hits. This one is 3 total damage coming. Soak of 3, which you subtract from the total damage. So she actually doesn't take anything. That's fortunate. She's managed to get out of the way. We do have that threat to deal with. Threat, the character suffers 1 strain. I didn't add strain into the stats I made for Ansel and JL, who are sharing the same thing. Strain is kind of like your mental hit points. So taking 1 strain when she doesn't have strain just converts it into a wound. So she's going to go ahead and take 1 wound. Maybe spike hits the wall or something next to her and some debris knocks her in the head or something. I don't know. Anyway, Vector X. What is he going to do? Well, they both moved away, so he'll move up. All he has that I saw were like daggers or knives. So I don't know that he can really do much to this thing, but he's going to give it a shot. He's going to pull out his knife. And let's see. Let's see how he does. Ooh, that is 2 hits with 1 threat. Dagger has +1 damage. Each hit that's not canceled adds to the damage. So it's 3 damage, but we have a soak of 5, so the creature soaks it up. So this thing has got some armor hide or something that's very tough to penetrate. All right, to Ansel now. She's going to run a little bit farther, and I gave her a gun. I don't know if we've mentioned if she had weapons or not. I gave her a gun, so her ranged. It's going to be 2 yellows. I'll give her, I think she's pretty close to this thing. So 1 purple die. Oh, that's nice. No, it's, well, the triumph counts as a hit and also a triumph effect. But that hit part of that is also canceled by the miss. So both hits are canceled by the miss. But we do get a triumph effect. Let's see what we can do. Upgrade the difficulty of the targeted character's next check. Okay. So she is going to shoot her gun at this lava creature, and it is going to have its next difficulty upgraded. I'll put that there to remind me. Okay, that was it. So we were back up to the creature. Let's just roll again, see who it tries to attack. 49. Oh, that is below, so it is actually going to turn to Vector X. I guess it doesn't like little mosquito knives poking it in the legs. So it is going to attack. Still gets its green, green, yellow, but the difficulty is now upgraded. Oh my goodness, that is a lot of hits. That is 5 damage. He has 3 soak. That's 2 wounds. And also, he has 2 threat. So that can add a blue die to my next roll. Basically, the attack that it does against me, open it up so that Vector X can do something to it. And look at that, it is Vector X's turn. So I think he's going to be able to kind of shift around it, maybe get behind one of the legs, and I think he's going to try to stab at it again and hope that maybe he can find some kind of gap or something. No, it's 2 hits and 1 threat, plus 3. Again, not enough to get past that soak. So I don't know that a knife is just going to cut it. Vector, sorry. Here we go with Ansel again. Ansel is going to shoot her gun now that it's got its back to her. 2 hits, 1 threat, uncancelled. Gun does damage 6, so that's 8. So this thing is actually going to take 3 damage. And there's 1 threat. And I'll say she'll take 1 more strain. So that's a 2 wounds that she's taken so far. Back to the creature. Who does it attack? Well, that's going to be Ansel, regardless of what the one's die is. So it's just turning back and forth, attacking whoever attacked it last. Only has a tail attack. Oh, great. It gets a triumph. When they're canceled, it gets 2 hits with a triumph and 2 threat. And you know what? This is taking a very long time. I don't know that I want to spend the entire time doing 1 combat. One of the things you can do with the triumph is do something vital. I want to make an executive decision here before this just drags on into an endless endless fight for 15 minutes. I don't think that it attacked Ansel. I think he was going to attack Vector X. And there's a reason why. So this thing turns to Vector X. I'm kind of ignoring the rest of these results, and I'm just going off this triumph here. It turns onto Vector. It pins him under one of its legs. It takes its spiked tail and it jabs it straight through Vector X's chest. And Vector X dies. The end. Game over. Thanks for watching. I know that seems kind of dramatic, especially just for this one triumph, but I kind of had an idea of what's going on here. At this point, I think it's a good point for JL to come running back in, and just in time to see the barb go straight through Vector's chest. Vector falls into a heap down on the ground. Unperceptible to Ansel or JL. The blue light, the energy, the data storage that was described in a previous episode. Normally only visible to Vector X's mechanical eye. Seems to be being drawn out of the walls, out of the machinery of this place. Seems to be drawn into Vector's eye like a vacuum. Like this eye is absorbing this energy. And then after a while, Vector X's eye begins to spark wildly, and then the body just twitches once and then explodes. Not in a shower of like blood and gore, but shower of blue light. Nothing is left there. Nothing to even imply that he was there at all. I think at this point, the lava beast is going to turn and go back where it came. It's going to go back down into the lava. I think that it thought that the eye was its biggest threat. And now that's been eliminated. There are no more significant threats. It's done its job as the guardian of this place. JL and Ansel run toward each other. Ansel Burgess just punches the wall. Like, it happened again. The collar, it was supposed to work. Ansel replies, "You won't remember. He'll likely head for the library again. That place, it's crawling with TSF by now. We need to hurry." So they begin running their way back to the ship. They get back to the ship. Dale, he speaks up again. He turns to Ansel. "I have been telling you over and over. I don't care if he's your boyfriend or not. The professor is not here to stop me now. Next time, I am only bringing the eye." With that, they turn and get on the ship and head back into the city. Meanwhile, in the city, there's a faint blue light that appears in Vector X's home. It grows larger and larger until it takes on the shape of a human. And then in this bright flash, Vector X appears in the middle of the room. He stumbles over to the sink. He splashes his face with some water. He sees a letter on the desk next to him, addressed to him from the professor. It's splattered with blood and says to meet him at the library. And it's urgent. He looks up into the mirror and he notices that he's wearing an electronic collar fastened around his neck. Leaning in to get a closer look, he then also notices a sparkle of blue light emanating from his eye, his fake eye. Now this draws his attention. He begins to stare at his reflection, his eye in the mirror. And that blue light grows and grows and grows, so bright and overwhelming, to the point that he cannot move, becomes frozen, and he realizes he can only see out of that mechanical eye. And what he sees are many of the same visions that he saw before with him and the professor and others. Only this time, instead of looking at these people from the outside, he is actually in the first person perspective of the person who was his look-alike. He's seeing through those eyes. Although he doesn't just see what's going on this time he can feel it. He feels the stone and metal under his hand and the crunch of the gravel under his feet. He starts to think to himself, I was actually there. He feels the heat of the lava on his skin, and he feels the pain in his head as the time distortion field activates. It begins to overload his eye, short-circuiting it, frying him. He feels the pain of his body exploding into tiny light particles. He realizes the teammate that was lost, who lost their life during the expedition, the very first one, it was him. Somehow that blue energy brought him back. He feels the pain of various other deaths in that place each time. The blue light, the energy, bringing him back. He couldn't remember any of it. But he begins to understand now. Somehow that time distortion energy, it hurts him. It kills him. But then it restores him. It restores him back to a previous state after each death, without the memories of it. But now he can see it. Now he remembers all of it. It has something to do with the eye. He doesn't know what. He feels the pain of that lava monster tail spike jammed through his chest. He reaches down to feel his chest, barely aware that the visions of the past have stopped and he can move again. And there is no wound there. And he looks at his reflection in the mirror. He's silently contemplating why this is happening to him and what it all means. How many times has he died and been revived by this weird time energy? Why can he remember it all now? But that is going to be a question for the next person because my time was up a long time ago, but I wanted to finish that thought. But anyway, that is what I think was going on. I think this is like a Groundhog Day, an inverse Groundhog Day kind of thing, where instead of you got Bill Murray going on and the world is resetting around him, the world is going on and Vector X is being reset every time. But anyway, that is what I've got. I'm going to call it right there. Good luck to everybody that comes afterward. Thanks for watching. Bye.